A few tips I want to give you when it comes to managing your tables, the least of which is when you want to remove a table from your database, in other words, delete it. Just go ahead and right-click on the table and go down to delete and say yes, and it's gone. Or if you don't have any use for the table right now, but you think you will later on in your database, instead of deleting it, you can hide it. And to do that, just go ahead and either right-click on it and go down to hide in this group, or click on table properties and check hidden, and then click Okie dokie. And if it doesn't automatically hide, it means that the feature for showing hidden tables is turned on. And you can see that it's faded, so it's not like these other tables that are in hide mode or the attribute is to be hidden. So what I can do is I can find either a blank area in the navigation pane and go down to the navigation options, or if you don't have a blank area, just come up here and right click on the header bar for the navigation pane and go down to navigation options. And it's this checkbox right here to show the hidden objects or to not show. Click Okie dokie, and those hidden objects are now hidden. To be able to view it so you can bring it back up and work on it, then let's go ahead and right click up at the top, go down to navigation options, say you want to show it, click Okie dokie, then right click on that faded table and say that you want to, in the table properties, make it unhidden by unchecking it, clicking OK, and we're back to where we started. You can also right click on it, go down to hide in this group and right click to unhide in this group. You can also hide an entire group by right-clicking on it and going down to hide. The entire group is now hidden. Now I just need to go ahead and bring up the navigation options to uncheck to show the hidden objects, but we won't do that. Let's right-click on it here and say we want to unhide, and it brings it back. And speaking of which, if you want to be able to view your tables and not hide them, you don't want to see the queries, forms, and reports, or maybe you just want to see the queries, of course you can go ahead and collapse the other objects here by clicking on them. Let's hide the forms. You can do it that way, or with queries here, you can right-click on it and say that you just want to show only queries, in which case you don't have to deal with the expanding, collapsing of the other objects. You want to bring it back, then you can come up here and right-click on the header bar for the navigation pane and say show all groups, or you can click on the drop-down arrow and mess with it here when it comes to filtering, to filter and see only tables, or to filter in queries, or to see all of them. Let me click off. Of course, you can go ahead and expand these again. And then if you have some details that you'd like to add about a table, maybe your company has a lot of databases, everybody keeps track of their own customers, which is probably not very efficient, but in any case, if I got my customers from somebody else's database and I want to detail that, I can right-click on the table, go down to table properties and type in the description or my details for this, saying I got this from Susie's database, and click OK. And then, of course, to see the details, you can right-click on it and go down to Table Properties to update it, to view it, or let me click Cancel. You can change the view of the navigation pane by right-clicking in a blank area, or again up at the top on the header bar, going down to View By. Instead of the list, we can go to Details. So we get the date it was created, the date modified, and also any descriptions there. You can see about yay big, as much as it can fit within the narrow confines of my navigation pane, which you can hover over the right side of the navigation pane until you can see arrows pointing in opposite directions. Click and drag to expand that way out, and then you can see, well, in this case, the complete details or the description of the table, but I'm not going to leave it open like that. And then to go back to where we started, again, right-click up at the top, change the view by to list. And then if you need to rename a table, maybe this is going to be the order details, just doesn't fit right with just simply orders, we can right-click on it and go down to rename and type after it details and hit enter. And of course, if I don't like that, right-click, rename it, and get rid of the details. Hit enter, and you can also have it selected and hit the F2 key on the keyboard, puts you in rename mode. That works. And then just hit enter to accept it, and we're back to where we started, minus the employees table.